Hi, everybody. Fred Pels here, CEO of Blackhawk Growth. I just wanted to take some time and introduce everyone to Scott Manley. Scott is the CEO of Blackhawk's initiative, NuWave Foods. To do a warm introduction so everybody knows the face and the person behind the name on the news releases. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Fred. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for taking the time today.
Of course.
So Scott, if you could maybe just give everybody a quick background. Obviously, I know you very well. A lot of people have searched Special D and some of your achievements with that. And maybe if you just wanted to do a quick introduction to everybody and let them know a little bit about yourself.
The owner of a company called Specialty Baking, which you might have seen or seen the press releases about of the connection between the two. I've been the owner of the company for 5 years now. It was actually a family-started company that is about 47 years running. The business itself has been in the wholesale industry for now about 27 years. So, as one might say, I've kind of grown up in this world of wholesale manufacturing and the grocery chain side of life. So the company actually originally started as a kind of a Tim Hortons style concept, sit down coffee style. Then we transitioned to the wholesale when we started essentially manufacturing for each store. So the industry the wholesale business is probably the biggest blessing and curse of any type of industry you can be in. One, when you're in it, the rate to enter is extremely high. Also, the timelines it takes to really get yourself noticed in this world is also extremely long. So that's why, luckily I have those relationships and I've been able to build them through Special D and now being able to utilize them moving forward with the NuWave product. It's very much in line, and it's great the fact that and all our products are currently frozen before shipping, shipped frozen, stored frozen. And there's always been a huge need in the industry to get away from frozen. Frozen is extremely expensive, and stores and everybody always looks for changes in that. So when NuWave and the concept of starting to be able to produce baked items and food that could eliminate so many of the industry's biggest problems right now, it was, obviously a no-brainer. I was able to get my paths across with Fred and through this process of, creating something that's never been done. But now that we've got to a point where we have a product that has been put in front of some big players, it's really exciting to see the push in the future of where this can go. And I'm only looking forward to using the contacts and the relationships that I've already built in this industry to keep pushing this brand forward as I've done with Specialty.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. I've been lucky enough. You've introduced me to some of your contacts, and going back to what you said about it's very difficult to get noticed, very difficult to build the relationships. I really felt that it's much a very closed off industry space. There is a lot of competition in this market, and even with the exceptional properties that NuWave product has, there was still a bit of proving ourselves that had to be done to these contacts. So it's been very interesting learning and watching how you've managed to get these relationships in place. Very, very appreciative of that experience, because it's much more complex than anybody would expect. Something that I want to touch on again. So obviously, we just received distribution with Bakemark. They are a massive North American food distributor. Can you maybe just enlighten everybody else, as to myself too, as to what that means for the distribution of NuWave products, what kind of potential we can see, and maybe a little bit into the process of how it's stocked and then distributed to the places that Bakemark distributes to. Just walk everybody through the process.
100%. Yeah. So as I kind of said in that release, Bakemark is the largest bakery manufacturer and ingredient supplier in North America. So any mom and pop bakery, any major grocery store, Save-On, Sobeys, Costco, you name them, they all buy from Bakemark. They will all purchase their raw goods and or, you know, pre-done goods. They buy my donuts and then sell them back to customers like that. So they are probably the biggest source to touch on as many possible third-party customers as possible. The other huge advantage of Bakemark is they have a sales force, a massive sales force that is already going and talking to these customers regularly. So our ability to get this products and more products in the future warehouse, we already have a sales force that's going to talk to these pre-existing grocery stores, mom and pa's, 7-Elevens, Max Convenience. They're doing it already, and it's a perfect in line conversation. The other thing that is super exciting about what we're doing is that the industry is excited. So the salespeople and the conversation is becoming something that they want to talk about. It's the new fresh thing. It's something that, you know, nobody else is doing. So, you know, they're already lined up. Network is crazy big for what a startup could ever do. You know, as I kind of mentioned, there's no way that any normal company was going to be able to jump up and say, hey, Bakemark, I got a product. Let's get this, you know, nationwide. It's just not going to happen. You know, there's a lot of relationship that goes behind that to get that momentum. The other amazing and huge part for us about the Bakemark relationship is because Bakemark is a major distributor of the raw goods, we are able to utilize their buying power to benefit us by creating the ingredients that we need, to getting specific products that we are going to run through the machine from them, the NuWave process to the product, and then actually selling the product right back to them. So there's a huge benefit, cost benefit to both sides. So through that process, they're more inclined to want to push a product because they're getting the back end, and then they're able to push that through their channels back through. So we get all the buying power through Bakemark, as well as all their current selling power. Now they're basically touching, maybe that's a number wrong, I think it's either 28 or 32 current locations across North America. So when you get into a Bakemark, obviously there's steps to take, and each division has its own conversations and its own levels. You know, we're very much with the right people, but you know, there's going to be some growing and conversations to do when we're starting to talk about nationwide or North American wide. But the initial step that we've already taken is the steps that we need to take to get to that point. Now, when you got, say, 30 locations, I'll split it in the middle across all North America, you're starting to touch on every single small retail grocery across North America. Now, currently we're working with the numbers and kind of playing figures of what the Canadian market offers. But you look at a supplier or a customer like Sobeys, they're about 1,500 stores in Canada. They're the second largest. You look at some small retailers in the States, the average small retailer is 1,000 stores, and you're still peanuts when it starts looking at that marketplace, you know, and they already have those connections. So we don't have to rebuild that relationship with the larger customers that they already have in the States. And it only takes one guy in Florida to go talk to one customer, or let's say California and Trader Joe's, some guy goes and talks to him and he's like, yeah, I love this product. All of a sudden we have 1,000 locations added on to us overnight. You know, the process of creating and the ability to prove yourself as a product, when you have Bakemark behind it, you're already up to that level. You are somebody that has notoriety in the industry per se. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting situation for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's the jumpstart that we need. And to speak to the scale of it, I think we obviously can't discuss something that's not happened yet, but in regards to what that means for our potential capacity, when you're speaking to distribution to 1,000 stores, you did a very good job of showing to me how insignificant one single product can turn into sales of millions of products very quickly. I think you did a very simple one product per store per week formula. I'm butchering it now, but you did a pretty good job of presenting it, what our potential, capacity would be required for us to fulfill, selling to any of these chains.
Again, this is figurative. These are all just ideas and concepts of where this industry can go. We're on the edge of that berg, but when you can take the whole berg, this is what will happen. So, you look at a company, and we'll use Sobeys as an example. They have 1,500 stores. So when you get a national supply in a company like Sobeys, I do the west of all the Sobeys currently with the donuts. So I average about $30 to $40 per store in donut sales per day. So extrapolating that into what we'd be looking at, which is the current launch of the cheesecake, you can say around that you're going to sell about 30 packages total of a cheesecake per day. Now, when you take that over 7 days of sales times the 1,500 stores, you're looking at, I don't have the figures right in front of me, so don't totally quote me on what it is. But if you're averaging to about 30 packages a day per store and you're doing the 1,500 stores, you're looking at around 25+ million in sales quite easily. The other crazy part is that every SKU that you sell to Sobeys is, and very basic, at one package per store, you're looking at about 2.2 million in sales. If one package is sold per store per day, one SKU. Now, we have already had, and we're going to be launching, 3 SKUs minimum on the cheesecake. So you can kind of start to do the math and figure out, like, you get 3 SKUs selling and you do 10 packages of each SKU that you're selling per store per day, which is about 30 packages a day. The company can do up to $65 million a year in sales just with that one customer. So, it's been blowing my mind. I've been in this wholesale game forever, but, I sell a donut for 35 cents. The crazy part is when you start extrapolating the numbers and the volume base of these stores to a product that's we're going to be selling from, $3.50 to $4.50, depending on, final costing that we're working on now. But when you start talking the same amount of volume in store and you're selling something for $3 to $4 to $5 a package, the financial structure just extrapolates like crazy, and then when we start talking, Sobeys is not our biggest customer. You can look at a customer like Kroger's, which I've talked to in the past. They're 5,500 stores. The amount of volume potential that we can touch on is pretty much astronomical and more than I could ever seen or hoped and prayed for. And it's all coming to light in that sense. The conversations are that exciting where you can get a Costco. Costco is 4,500 stores. It's all there.
Massive. And, obviously, I hope shareholders know we're having a discussion of potential scalability, very much things that Scott has, targeted and is shooting for, but have yet to get there. And what are some of the steps? Bakemark is obviously a big play in that, in allowing us access to those kind of consumers. What are the next sort of hurdles and advancements that we've made in conjunction with Bakemark that can, see us getting closer to those kind of potential growth?
I can't really say too much right now. It's not finalized, and I don't want to, be saying anything that's not. But know at least 1 or 2 of the people the large suppliers that I brought up in that list are part of the conversation already.
Yeah. And so for us and our shareholders, the story is very much just beginning. I think we should do similar videos where myself or somebody from our marketing team will come back in, check in with you, see where we're at. Obviously, we'd like to do that with all of our initiatives. But I think this was a really good intro. I think, shareholders get a little bit of an inside look into what goes on in the mind of Scott Manley and NuWave Foods, and really how big you're thinking You know, it's going to be something fantastic, and I can't wait to follow up with you and see where we're at in a week or two.
100%. And one thing I just want to throw in on that, you know, a lot of the biggest thing, the hurdle that a lot of, you know, I wouldn't say people that domestically don't understand the wholesale manufacturing world is kind of, I touched on it at the beginning, but I do just want to hit it again, is, you know, your cost entry is a lot, but once you get in, you're set into that area and nobody can compete with you. We have such an advantage with timing, with the equipment licensings, the product availability, all of that right now, that, you know, the position and the timing based upon the world and everything, we couldn't be in a better spot. And I have been having conversations with this type of industry for a long time, and it is by far the most exciting conversations that I've ever had recently. Not because I'm trying to be the guy being excited, it's because people are coming back to me and saying, this is insane. Like, how this is real. This is something that, you know, it is the largest customers that I've talked to still are in the dark about what we're able to accomplish. The industry shaking hasn't even begun yet. And that's, you know, where I'm looking forward to working towards for sure.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. And, you know, even our shareholders are excited. I'm excited. I'm not surprised that that the distributors and retail are excited about this product as well. And, you know, that gives it some significant advantage in getting prime shelf space. Would that be an accurate assessment?
100%. And shelf space is everything. You know, even after you can get product in store, you know, a lot of the time the store won't even put it on the shelf. But when you get proper product placement, because they're excited about retailing it properly, that's a whole nother game of sales that, you know, when we have the right guys and you can all of a sudden get your product up at the counter, and now you see cheesecake as you're walking by the chocolate bars and people are walking out of the grocery store right before they pay. You know, when you can start touching on those type of locations and stuff, and again, that's already the conversations that we're talking about, then, you know, again, even the numbers that I spat off can even compound. Again, these are all ideas and things we're working towards, but that's the point, is that the future is there. We can see it. And now it's just a matter of hitting the ground hard running, getting the available infrastructure set up so that we can handle the type of large customer that is already coming our way. And by doing those steps and working closely with Bakemark and other major retailers, we will get to those goals.
And just about the facility itself, you know, I've never really gone into detail on it. Employees, size, you know, scalability, the type of products that we can manufacture there, from raw ingredients to finished product. Is there anything that you'd like to share with our shareholders so they have a bit more of an idea of how scalable the operation really is? I mean, we put up a few photos. Granted, they're not the best, but it's very difficult to capture the scale of the actual facility that we're in, and what can be done there.
We actually just got our GFSI certification in the location. So GFSI certification is the highest level of food safety that you can get. It's a very challenging thing to do. It's a ton of paperwork and it's extremely expensive. So the advantages to being able to put this somewhat under the same roof, obviously they're going to be two segregated facilities under one roof, but we get all the advantages of the shipping. All the shipping is already set up currently at our plant. We have the advantages of the same shipper receivers we can utilize as things grow. We have the advantages of the intake of ingredients and all the procedures that are already in place for traceability, for tracking, for recalls. You know, all that stuff has to be in place, again, before you get any of these major retailers. Just the GFSI certification took Specialty, which is a very long-standing plant, 1.5 years to get. And that's something that kind of flows directly into this overnight, which gives you the credibility of, you know, major retailers that could never have gotten to that position. So our ability to turn something that from a product of making it to a retail product, which, you know, includes all the safety, all the nutritional, all the labeling, all of that, you know, we have the team in place to create that very quickly. The actual time to market, like, we can do in a quarter of the time that any other usual bakery stuff happens. As an example, we actually had a new icing glazer made for our donuts. So the donuts go through, they get top ice and they flipped over. The machine itself took 360 days to make. That was without installation time, without all the other things that come with it. So the bakery and the wholesale industry is a very slow game. And we are able to bypass 99% of those problems by having a facility that is already doing everything that we're looking to do moving forward with this equipment.
Yeah, and you guys are also, and by you guys, I mean NuWave and Specialty also has FDA authorization, so that would potentially allow us immediate access to U.S. market if there was a demand.
100%. Yeah, the plant is all FDA approved. So that is the biggest one with the States, and also the States is the GFSI. That was actually the main reason why we got GFSI. You pretty much can't do business in the States anymore without it. So yeah, so the fact that the plant is FDA and GFSI, we can hit any major customer in the US at this time.
That's amazing, and that's a big leg up for us, you know, in our big goals moving forward. Scott, I mean, unless there's anything else, thank you for your time, man. And
that's great.
Yeah, I can't wait for this to really start flexing its muscles so people know what we've got here.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Thanks, Scott. We'll definitely do them some more, and we'll chat to you soon.